We were talking about utilizing the Wacom tablet, which I have been doing quite a bit recently and kind of getting a feel for it again because I used it several years ago, but fell out of love with it when I started doing real estate photography because utilizing a square format in real estate is much easier and it's what the mouse gives you, whereas this is more precise for like faces and portraiture. So today I wanted to go over a really nice shot that I grabbed the other day when we were photographing a luxury home. I'm just going to bring that image up here, and we have just a nice image, but there's some things in here that we could do better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in Photoshop, right click, edit in Adobe Photoshop 2023 is what we're working with right now. And here we have that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to hit Control J, and that is going to create a new layer. Maybe my face is hiding that for you over here, but you can see it says layer 1. That's just a duplicate layer of the background layer that is underneath. So some of the things that I want to look at here is I don't really care for how this light switch is over on the edge of the image. And now that I've showed it to you, you probably can't unsee it, but it draws your eye to the right over there. There's also an outlet over here and another light switch over on the left. This one will probably be the most difficult to edit. The other two should be pretty simple, and I want to get rid of this cord, but you'll notice also that with the cord, there's some severe shadows that are coming off of the cord. We'll need to get rid of those too. So let's start with that. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to drag a big square out around the outlet and all of the shadows. Then I'm going to hit Shift F5. That'll bring up my content aware tool, and we're going to see how good of a job this does. I'll hit OK. And just like that, it's pretty much like it was never there. There is a little bit of color distortion here. So maybe if I hit Shift F5 again, it'll fix that. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think that's better. Not as bad on the colors. So let's zoom out. Oops, this one. And let's take care of this light switch over here. That should be pretty easy. So I'm going to grab that rectangular marquee tool again, grab a square around it. Now, since it's right here on the edge, and I do have a 2-pixel feather on this square, if I hit that right now, it's going to leave a mark on the edge. So I'm actually going to grab that marquee and I'm going to move it off the edge just a little bit. I'll hit Shift F5, content aware, OK. And just like that, it's like it was never there. So those two problems are gone. And the last one we have is this switch over here. So let's move over there. I don't know if the Shift F5 trick with content aware fill is going to work for this, but let's try it and see what it gives us. It's so good, but there's a little bit of a piece missing right here. If you can see that from where it took out the post here from the banister. So what I can do is I can grab my clone stamp tool and just choose a spot that's really close. I'm going to hit Alt to target that spot. I'm going to try and line this up. It's not going to be perfect because this area is thinner and the angle is different than this area is. If I grab it from down here, that looks a little bit closer, and just draw that in there. You can kind of see a stair step there, and when we zoom out, you can't tell at all, but you know it's there. Is it gonna bother you? It's there. Let's hit Control Z, take it back to where that chunk is. Another thing that we could do, is we could take our marquee tool again, draw a little square that would cover that area. Then we'll right click, and instead of hitting content aware fill, we are going to layer via copy. That makes a new layer over here that's just a little piece of this banister. So if I go up to the top, grab my move tool, I can move this layer now up here, and now there's one big chunk and this bottom part is perfect, right? So I'm going to go to edit, transform, and skew, and then I can kind of grab that edge and pull it over so it lines up. And let's see, maybe I went a little too far. It takes a very steady hand. There you go. Right there, I think looks good. If I hit enter, it places it in and it kind of fixes those little divots that were already there. But it's a whole new layer. So if you still wanted to move it around, you could move that around wherever you want. Another thing that you could do is you could mask it. I'll create, oops, wrong one. Create a mask there. And if I hit, let's see, the Alt Delete, that fills it with black, which means we don't see the mask right now. But I can grab my pen tool and I can paint in white right there where the divot is. Paint in white on the mask. It's not giving me what I want. Why is it not? Maybe because it's in the wrong place to begin with. There we go. Let's fill it with white this time so that we see exactly what we're working with here. Put it in the area that we want. That line is still just a little bit off. I'm going to go edit, transform, skew. I'm going to bring that back in just a touch. Not that much. There we go. Hit enter. That's a little better. Put it right where I want it. I mean, that's already, but I have this mask here. So if I take a black pen, I could just see, make sure I can see where it's at. I could just paint away the edges and make sure that there's no discoloration here on the back of the wall. And there you go. I think that looks really great. There's some other things that we could work on in this picture, like there's a color cast all over the place. There's blues and greens in here. If we wanted to do that, I'm going to hit Shift, Control, Alt, E. That's going to give us a whole new layer here that is a stamped layer of everything below it. So you'll see if I turn these layers off below, it doesn't make any difference to this layer because it's sort of like flattening it, but without losing everything that was underneath of it. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose a hue saturation layer, and that will affect this layer 3. But just to make sure, I'm going to hit Alt and then attach that layer to the layer 3. And if we look at this, we can come down and say, what do our magentas look like? If I just choose magenta here and I go all the way up, you can see there's some magenta color cast happening down around here in the shadow areas, in that lamp. And I don't feel like we need those colors in there. So I can just remove the saturation from that. I can do the same thing with the blues. Take a look at just how saturated these blues are. They're all over the place. Now I want some blue in here still. So I'm just going to lower that. I'm not going to take it all the way out. I don't want a gray image, but I am going to lower the blues a little bit. I have a feeling there's the same thing with the cyans. Oh, cyans are everywhere. So it's keeping our walls from being the whitish color that we want. Bring those cyans down a little bit. Green. Green's a little strong. Now there's green in that painting, and there's a lot of colors that are going to be in the painting. So we don't need green down here. We don't need green over here. We don't need green in the stairwell. But in that painting and maybe in the lamp, we would want the green. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm going to take all the green out. And then what we have left is yellows. There should be a lot of yellow because all of this is yellow and also in the painting there. But I don't want it that yellow. I'm going to just bring it back to where it was. 0, which this is the natural color of that wood or bamboo or whatever that's made out of. Maybe teak. Teak is very popular. This is over by the ocean. Reds are giving us the same kind of thing. All of the wood has some red in it, and that painting has some red in it. That's stone. So we're going to leave that. And the banister obviously would have some reds in it as well. And that brings us up to the master. So we have gone through all of the colors. We said that we wanted to bring some colors back, maybe in the wood here, and in the lamp, and the stone, and in this painting, without bringing all the colors back to the wall. So if I turn this off, that's what everything looked like before, and that's how it looks now. It's kind of subtle, but you can see that all of these blues, especially in this area over here, all those blues go away. So I've got a mask on here already. I can grab my pen tool, and since I have my Wacom tablet, I can just go through here. I can make my pen size larger by hitting the right bracket, and I can just paint black on the painting because it's artistic and it's supposed to have a lot of colors in it. Some greens in there, some yellows. We're bringing them back. And this lamp, sort of the same thing. So I'm going to paint black on there. You can see on my mask here where I have already painted. Looks like I might have missed a spot right there. I want to paint back in on this stone. And I'm just painting it at 100% flow. Maybe the banister. I'm going to tap once here, hit shift, and then tap once over here. And that'll draw a straight line down the banister. Can do the same thing for this one in the back. Maybe color that one in just right there, and that little line right there. Tap, tap, fills it in. And let's look at this table, and let's just bring the colors back for that. Oh, you see that? Brought back a lot of color right there. Right around here. And right across the top. And you can see that shape in my mask. If I hit shift, that exits the mask out. So you can see before and after. And is it alt? There you can see where I've drawn on my mask, and we can go in and fill some of this in. Some of the areas that I may have missed. You can see our banisters over here. It's kind of cool. So it's an ugly little mask, but it does the job. Hit Alt again and click on that, and it goes back to where it was. So here's with the mask, the color changes that we have, and you can see how that wall brightens up, but all of the other colors sort of remain the same. So we've lost the green hues down here and the blue. All right, so that is complete. I'm going to hit Control S to save that. That'll save it back to Lightroom, and we'll have a good before and after here with our light switches and everything gone. Here is before, and there's after. So the color cast is gone, the switches and outlets are gone, and I am happy with that image. So I'm going to call it good. All right, if you guys are watching and you have any questions, or if you'd like to see more editing in this style, please let me know. And I am happy to do more of this for you. And we will talk to you soon. God